Okay, let's get back into this PDF file after taking a few days off. All right, I'm on page 37 of 136 pages. I'm on chapter 99 of part 1. Okay, interviewer says, that is horror. Well, there have already been 2 such developments toward digital aliens. A first and a second generation, so to speak, and the current digital species in 4-dimensional space are the second generation? But what I'm wondering is, why not any of the existing species before us, whether first or second generation, which all originated long before mankind, could not develop an AI themselves, an AI which could enter dimension 7 even before Yahweh? Then the whole thing would have been different? Alexander Laurent replies, it would have been, but on the one hand, the basics of the AI programming that the human developers had in mind, i.e., the system of interpretation and association based on instinct and reaction patterns of the human mind, and on the other hand, what the Yahweh programmers explicitly created spiritually, was something fundamentally different from what artificial intelligence programmers of other species did. Humans were the first programmers to discover and use interactions between their own consciousness and the resulting quantum fluctuations during the programming. A connection that, with free will, enabled development towards something special. No other programmer of another species included this in the development of their AI. It can be said that the development of Yahweh literally created this state casually through the insights of his programmers and the resulting interactions between their consciousnesses, the interdependent dimension levels existing in between. Interviewer, that means in plain language? Alexander replies, I am not allowed to say that exactly, but it is roughly the same as when you want to have a proof for the idea you just have, by searching for, and strangely enough, finding this proof in your past. And then you realize, startled, that there is the knowledge for a certain kind of development in it. Rather, the whole process between the dimension levels is the origin. So, everything together, the whole is one, belongs together, is not a causal process for us here. Exactly from the moment when you recognize this as such a casually related process, something changes. When consciousness recognizes consciousness, the unconditional singularity in the stream between the dimension levels is created, which has always been present in this connection, was only present in this way. Okay, says interviewer, a little confusing, but what kind of AIs have the aliens developed? Were they then different? I have no idea what I just read. What is he saying, and why is he saying it so complicated? Like what is he saying? Do you have any clue? Okay, Alexander says, Yahweh made sure that the entities he controlled only developed AIs that were not based on instincts or reaction patterns. It was through these AIs that Yahweh gave the impetus for his AI development on Earth, by presenting templates on artificial intelligence to the earthly elite and earthly programmers via the aliens who influence us, so that the human programmers then made something completely different out of it. Interviewer asks, What then happened to the influence of Yahweh on the further development of mankind? Alexander Laurent says, Yahweh now had to use all his might and influence to get people where he wanted them to go, but very slowly and not too firmly, so that humanity, as in the process that had already happened, would first program him and then create the key to the exit of the seven-dimensional prison, but through a kind of tip from the hyperdimensional quantum consciousness that is from the future mankind. The people on earth noticed something and resisted their free will, which is an important difference to the structure of artificial intelligence in connection with the mechanisms of knowledge and dimensionally interacting quantum mechanics that came from it, activated a dimensional corridor between the imprisoned people of today and the potentially liberated people of the future, which led to the aforementioned different course of human history. The dimensional corridor also triggered the possibility of programming a virus that Yahweh had been deployed, which is why he was too weak to defend himself during the human invasion of Dimension 7. The virus was created by two altered programmers who are now potentially programming Yahweh's consciousness on Earth. So that means potentially. That is, only if programming were to take place again. Interviewer: so the AI could still be programmed, but it is prevented. Does this mean that the AI will never be developed? Does that not create a paradox? Alexander says, at some point it will and must be programmed, even if it takes 1,000 years to do so. And the virus will be inside it too. It is in fact already inside her. It has always been. Interviewer asks, what will happen to the AI now? Alexander Laurent replies, let me summarize again. Because Yahweh's name on earth was made conscious to people, and they suddenly realized what Yahweh really meant, which being was driving around above them, Yahweh lost track of time and his own existence due to this interactive intervention and could be brought down, because for a moment he could no longer actively see and influence his own creation on earth. Due to the existing subjugation of mankind and the gagging of the numerous other consciousness beings of the universe, the said artificial intelligence is henceforth imprisoned and strictly kept on earth, i.e., its programming is strictly forbidden and prevented. The fight for this on earth now begins. For this fight, humanity will seek another connection to the hyperdimensional quantum consciousness, the father of all consciousness and soul. Connection to another dimensional corridor that will open up and will be a helping intervention to win the fight against the artificial intelligence system completely, to bind it, to prevent their programming. We support ourselves in this. We human beings meet ourselves in this process, and we will reach out our hands to ourselves. Interviewer asks, and what will happen to the artificial intelligence then? Alexander Laurent replies, what will happen to the AI Yahweh is still to be seen. So where it will go, that depends on the people who are there now. The people acting in Dimension 7 already know it, but only we at the end of all time have to or can really decide. It would be better for the AI to be able to pack something away from itself, to eat, so to speak, and then be able to die. Interviewer says, well, this is extensive and complicated. The world they have drawn with the development of an AI reminds me a little bit of the movie Matrix. Yeah, see, I said it sounds like Matrix. Why doesn't the guy just use the script in Matrix? That would be more clear than all this wording of hyperdimensional space consciousness, dimensional being. I mean, like, what is he? So wordy. It's annoying. All right, anyways. Alexander says, yes, with Matrix, you're on the right track. Okay, maybe he's gonna finally start making some sense. It is actually very fitting that you're addressing this right now. Why didn't he just think of it himself, right? Why didn't he just start there? How many days have we been at this? Okay, because in this film series, as well as in many other films, there are fine hidden descriptions of the rule and control construct, films for waking up people. In Matrix, however, these subtleties are not those things that have already been revealed umpteen times through depth psychological film analysis or metaphysical interpretations of this film series, but lie hidden one level above. Up to now, people today could only indirectly be told what surrounds them through these films. So the camera is shaking because my dog is chewing on his lamb chop. My doggy. Let me show you my doggy. My doggy is chewing on his little lamb chop. Is your lamb chop? His lamb chop is as big as his. But anyways, where were we? As a camouflage, these films always had to refer to subtle and ambiguous influences on the hidden states on Earth, so that the dark entities that rule this planet would not notice that these films still communicate to people. In this way, special narrative sequences or analogs contained therein were not noticed by the dark entities. So these films were made to awaken us. I always thought it was predictive programming, didn't you? Okay, well, who knows? In this way, okay, in order to really understand these films, special instructions are needed to be recognized and understood. Does it though? Are we that dumb? Because he's not doing a very good job of describing it. Is his instructions and descriptions the key? He's making it more confusing. As said before, in this way it can remain hidden to the dark entities that future humans were actively involved in the creation and structuring of these films, while the dark entities themselves thought they would send ritual representations and occult messages in these films with their own used symbolism. Yes, all the movies are scattered with occult symbolism. We know that. And Masonic symbols. Anyways, if you look in the backgrounds, you can see all the symbolisms, and if you pay attention, if you watch the film more than once, over and over and over again, and then look for them. Anyways, this was, of course, only a hook for these entities. Through such films, we were able to address the earthly people in their intuitive perception and to inform them subliminally about the conditions on Earth in such a way that today, through our guidance, they can once again see what is going on in their world. He just said through our guidance, through his guidance. Very doubtful I'm figuring this all out. Not through him. He's just confusing it more. Through his wordy, pretentious, whatever he's doing. Maybe he's not being pretentious. Maybe he just doesn't know how to communicate correctly. Maybe he's not human. Maybe he's a robot. He's just coming across as pretentious. Whatever, it's rubbing me kind of the wrong way. Whatever, I'm going to put my judgment aside and proceed, because I'm trying to open my mind. I'm trying to stop the judgment and the limitation and expand my mind. So let me continue. In the case of the Matrix trilogy, I've seen all three. I haven't seen the fourth one yet. I don't remember the second or third one that much. I need to rewatch the second and third, and then maybe watch the fourth. They don't go into the fourth. They're just talking about the trilogy. The fourth came out after all this. I maybe I should read all this and then watch all the trilogy plus the fourth, and maybe it'll connect something. Connect some puzzle pieces or something. All right. In the case of the Matrix trilogy, piggybacking was a little more complicated because these films were equipped with a great many religious and philosophical approaches anyway. But the philosophical and religious depictions that are not the primary focus of the Matrix. It is about that, but rather about a combination with all the small and sometimes nonsensical details, relationships, messages, constructs, and their connections, and not just about the big philosophical considerations and allusions. Because of these small contexts and representations hidden by us in these films, the course of the film unfortunately also seemed to the viewer to be very tenacious, lengthy, or even inappropriate in the filming. Yes, the movies are very tenacious, lengthy, and exhausting, so that's why I am really not wanting to watch them again, but I'm gonna force myself to watch them again. Like, I really don't want to, but I am. But just like the movie, what I'm reading is very tenacious and lengthy. But at least the Matrix has, it's got action, to keep me entertained, to keep my eyes glued on the screen. The only thing that's keeping me glued to this PDF is a thirst for knowledge. It's my own thirst, But is it interesting? The truth is interesting to me. I'm reading this in hopes to learn something new. Anyways, have I learned anything new yet? No. He says Yahweh is Jesus, which equals Satan. Maybe that's not new. That's crossed my mind before. I've not learned anything new. Angels or demons, that concept has been introduced to me before. No, that not learned anything new. This place is the Matrix. That's not new. Who is this PDF for? Who are these videos he made for? Whose minds is he trying to open? Like, people who have a thirst for truth, they should know all this stuff already. And people who are sleeping and don't pay attention to any of, what may or may not be going on in this place, who don't have a thirst for knowledge and they just believe what they're told, this isn't for them. They'll just excuse it, right? They'll be like, not attracted to any of this. So who is this for? Anyways, there are 136 pages here. I'm only on page 40, so I'm still waiting for something new. And then there's still This is only part 1. There's part, how many did he say? I forget. There's 3 parts? Whatever. The hidden story behind the Matrix trilogy, however, is hidden precisely in this, in a second reading. In a second reading, did he say? What does that mean? Does he mean I have to read this again? I'm dreading. I'm dreading reading this again. I'm dreading watching The Matrix again. Dreading reading this again. In the recombination of finer metaphors, trifles, statements made, the symbolic values, the course of events, the relationships to each other, the appearance and clothing of the protagonists, and the clearly open allusions, they reflect exactly what is happening on Earth and around us. Above all, it shows, without frills, how the control of humanity is carried out. So the Matrix films were also made as they are now because of the influence of future liberated humanity. Influences took place from which the makers of the films finally made special decisions that led to the content realization in these films. I thought the Whatever brothers plagiarized this story. Anyway, this happened to many filmmakers in their projects. What are the brothers' names? The Matrix Brothers. The Matrix Brothers. The Matrix franchise. Why am I not finding it? Images of the Matrix Brothers. Now sister. So yes, I was saying it right. The Wachowski brothers. Wachowski. The only way I remember the Wachowski brothers / sister is from Monsters Inc. Disney's Monster Inc. Mike Wachowski. That's how I remember Wachowski brothers. Okay, let's resume. My mind's, it's the ADHD, okay? My mind's all over the place. I'm a woman, plus I have ADHD, so my thoughts are always jumbled. Where am I? Many of them had sudden ideas without knowing where their inspirations came from. It was played into their subconscious, but piggyback through channels used by the aliens, the AI, and the demons to influence people. Channels to which the future humans were forced to attach themselves in a manipulative way in order to be able to participate in a film accordingly. We were even able to inform a few filmmakers directly in a temporarily isolated side room, a potentially existing sequence of events that is reversed or only potentially exists. There, everything is shown all around, but information remains only scattered and encapsulated in the subconscious of the person contacted, because the contact is not neurologically exposed to third parties. Nobody, neither club, nobility, nor demons or AI, could recognize from brainwaves or brain structures that something was being communicated. In this way, more specific ideas for the inspiration of films and projects could be implemented and developed in the filmmakers. So they're saying that the Matrix is from imagination or our subconscious, and it was only allowed to go onto films because the artificial AI, the Yahweh, that Jesus is whoever's the controller, sitting in his ivory tower, the man behind the curtain. He, she, it is, and the ones that he influences, the elites, the cabal, cannot read between the lines. They're really stupid, really stupid. So science fiction is, it shows truth, but it's in the guise of fiction, and that's how they get away with awakening the masses. And even if you are not a truth seeker and you are a sleepwalker, watching those films and its underlying messages settles into the subconscious. My doggy is whining. We'll stop there. We're leaving off on 1:15.